Hello everyone, my name is Grant and I will be telling you today about the history and modernization of golf in Scotland. And if anyone's familiar with the town we live in, it's got a big history as well. This is where golf originated at the beginning, but as far as American golf, the town we live in is very famous for that. That's why it's called the cradle of American golf. If you've ever been here during like U.S. Opens, it's very crowded in this town. Like you can't rent anything out, and people have to rent places in Fayetteville. But getting into Scotland, so 1457. You can see that picture looks like it was taken in about 1457. The classic clothes they're wearing, the kind of cardigan and the driving cap and all leather shoes, probably no spikes. And the one thing that I'd like to point out, I wanted to bring a prop to kind of show everybody, but they're so hard to find that I couldn't find one. The club is actually wooden, so just like other sports where like baseball bats and stuff have evolved over time, golf clubs have as well. So they went from wooden shafts and from hickory to metal and carbon fiber stuff now. So it's come a long way since 1457. All right, so this is actually a picture from St. Andrews. You can see a lot of old-looking buildings. That's the famous bridge. And so when golf started over here, before this is more current, but before there was really lawnmowers and all this fancy turf equipment, they didn't really have anything to cut the grass. So what happened was the sheep that they had would actually eat the grass. It wouldn't be very clean and even, but that's how they kept their grass mowed. They'd have the sheep eat it. But for that reason, when you roll a ball on it, it bounced. The grass wasn't even, it bounced, and so when they would putt, it'd go all over the place. So fast forward, a few years, they're starting to figure out how to put loft on the ball, how to hit it high. That's how golf really started evolving. So they would take those wooden clubs and a rock or some kind of stone, and they would grind it down where instead of the face being flat, it'd be a little diagonal, have a little loft. So when they hit a ball with that, it'd go up in the air. And they'd play these games to hit it in these pebbles, no golf balls, but little pebbles with their wooden golf clubs. And they just knock it around the open fields that Scotland is. And as you can see, there's not a lot of trees. I mean, maybe one right there. It's very open. It's not like it is here in North Carolina. All right, so fast forward to what we see today over there, the Open, or the British Open. That is similar to what we have here in Pinehurst, called the U.S. Open, that people come from all over the U.S. and even European countries to play in. This is just a picture I got from the 148th one at Royal Portrush, one of the courses up there in the UK. And ever since golf has been around, there's been when tournament golf started, there's been opens, and that means that anyone has the right to play. Like you don't have to already be a professional. You can go out and try to qualify as an amateur. A lot of college players will get into these U.S. Opens and they'll try to qualify for them and maybe get a sponsor's exemption when they turn pros next year. I thought that was pretty cool because it's something that collegiate players can try to play in, and even though there's really not college golf over there, and I wasn't really aware of that until I looked into it, but that's why a lot of foreign players come over here to play college golf and develop their game. I see a lot of guys turning pro at young ages from the UK. All right, so here's another picture of St. Andrews. It's just a little bit different angle. And there's one of these buildings that's pretty famous that a lot of the players have to actually hit it over to get back into the fairway. And you can see that I was saying earlier how it's super flat, also super windy out there. So it's not uncommon for there to be 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts, especially if there's any type of storm near, it may be more, but very common for it to be windy. So off over there, everything goes, you want to hit it low, you want it to roll. Over here, you see more people hitting it high, hitting it over stuff. But not a lot of obstacles there, but the grass is very long and the wind is very strong. So that's your two biggest obstacles at a place like that. So just like people come here in Pinehurst on vacations, golf trips, business trips, you can do that over there in Scotland. I'm not sure what it costs to come here and play, just because I stay here. But I was looking into how much it costs to go to Scotland, and without the plane, some of the packages for like a few days will be about $3,000 to $5,000, maybe a little more, depending on where you stay. That's kind of a lot to go play golf, but it's a bucket list place for people who enjoy it, and just like people come over here, they come from California over here all the time. We play at number 2 and number 4, and I know many of people that have flown to Scotland just to play a few courses. But yeah, about 5,000 I would say without your airfare, and then depending on what courses you play, maybe a little more or less. So there's very rich history here, and it's dating back to the 1450s, like I was saying earlier. They loved the game there. They enjoyed it, and it started off as just playing for. They like to drink scotch over there, and they started off playing for bottles of scotch, and whoever could knock the pebble into the hole with the least amount of strokes would win scotch, and it became a game. It became a sport, and it evolved all the way to tournament golf now that has purses for. US Opens have purses of like $2 million. So far. So that's just another picture of. I don't think that's St. Andrews, but I just tried to get as many pictures of like the flatlands and grass as I could. But you can just see there's hardly any trees, but all that grass. You can see in the picture, it's probably like that tall. And that's why it's such a famous course. All those places down there, they're famous for their grass and wide open area. It's called links. And what links means is it's going to be more of a straightforward from the tee to the green. You're not going to have a lot of water, a lot of trees. I've never gotten to play a course like that, so I hope that one day I can. All right, does anybody have any questions before I end it?
Ever have any tournaments at the US Open?
So that's actually a really good question. The USGA, United States Golf Association, just announced that they're moving their headquarters to Pinehurst. You might have heard of it, but so when they move their headquarters down here, it'll create a lot of jobs. I believe it's in New Jersey. But that also guaranteed that we're going to get 4 more US Opens at number 2 by, I forget by what date, but it's guaranteed it's 4 more in Pinehurst. So it'll be very crowded during those times. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks.
Beautiful pictures. Beautiful. Who else plays golf here? Anybody? No? I do.
There's not a ton to do here if you don't play golf.
I know. I learned when I lived in Texas, and I absolutely loved it. in business, you better know how to play golf.